Okay, we're going to do a very short introduction to setting up your works cited page for your research. Be sure to double check how many sources you have to have in your final copy that you have to have actually quoted of the sources we gathered in order to make sure that you don't fall short on that and lose points on your final copy. But let's start with the formatting. We're going to go into the header, I should say. There is not a heading on the works cited page, and you are going to copy and paste this, but I want to run through the header again for the sake of making sure you get that right. You'll want to make sure that your font is what it's supposed to be. Your choices are Arial 12 or Montserrat Normal 12. I'm using Montserrat and I need to go up to 12. The page number must have your last name and the page number and be flush right. So I just flushed right there, or aligned right, and we're going to have the student's name, space, and then go here, insert, on the insert tab, go to page number and insert page number. Then we'll exit out and we see that our font goes back to the default, so you need to fix it. It needs to be either your Montserrat 12 or your Arial 12. And then you're also going to go over to line spacing and you're going to double space this document. Now, the next thing you're going to do is set up your hanging indent. Works cited pages use a hanging indent, which is the opposite sort of a traditional paragraph indent. So the way that this works is the first line always starts flush left in an entry, but the rest of the lines in the entry are all 1/2 inch indented. And in Microsoft Word, there's actually a hanging indent setting in the formatting tab. So we're going to grab this triangle though here in Docs, and it says left indent, and we're going to pull it in 1/2 inch. Hopefully you can read a ruler, but if you can't, you see it gives us the decimal place as well. We go to 1/2, brings our cursor over. Then we move up to this little rectangle above the triangle, and it says first line indent, and we're going to pull it back to the 0 place, or to where the gray line is, demarcation is. Now it understands that when we bring our citations in, that we want this hanging indent format. So go to your note sheets, unless you're using sources where you don't all have note sheets because you may have replaced some of your sources. And you're going to want to try to look at, I would look at the journal articles first, because you already have a citation for those that you copied and pasted from the database when you got the article. And you want to alphabetize them. So we have Latner and we have Adams. So Adams is going to be our first one. You're going to want to highlight, but be careful not to over highlight, because if you over highlight, now it's going to copy the whole text box. You don't want the whole text box. You just want the words. So bring it in, highlight, on your Chromebook, Control C, go back to your works cited page and paste it in. Now, if you just paste it Control V, it's going to bring all the font size over and that from the other source. But if you Control Shift V, now you get your font brought in. It converts your font. One thing I did forget though, that some of you may noticed, is I forgot, hit enter, go back up, I forgot my title. So I'm going to go back, bring that down one line, hit center align, and type works cited. There is no extra space between the title and the body of the text, or between the heading and the title in MLA. So look at this sample here. It's copied over. It has changed the font, but also that means that you need to go and check, because we have the author's name, the title in quotation marks. This is the article title or the web page title. And then we have the larger publication or website or journal, magazine name. The larger publication has to be italicized. Also look and check your capitalization. Sometimes, even though you copied and pasted these citations, sometimes, frankly, ProQuest, EBSCOhost, Gale, sometimes they screw up. Whoever data entered the information does not get capitalization right. All the major words in the titles have to be capitalized, and you see here Spectre is not. So I'm going to fix that. The only minor word that gets capitalized in a title is if it's the first word. And I'm making sure I have a period there, and now everything looks good. Let's move on to our next citation. Hit enter. It converts automatically to a hyperlink. Take that out. I don't want it hyperlinked. There's some problems with that you'll see here in a minute. Hit enter. Why? Remove that link. There we go. Sometimes I fight with it. And we move on to our next source. In this case, it's going to be Richard Latner's The Long and Short of Salem Witchcraft. And I'm going to, again, Control C on the Chromebook. And I'm going to Control Shift V. And I'm going to looky there, that and is a minor word and should not be capitalized. Don't trust the citation just blindly. There are mess ups sometimes, and even if you're using a citation builder, you can still put bad data in and you're going to get bad data out. Our large publication work, either a journal name, magazine name, website name, needs to be italicized. I got my period there. There should be a period there. And I'm going to hit enter. This is what I'm talking about, why I don't want hyperlinks. It screwed this one up. It didn't understand that all of this is a hyperlink. So I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to go back down here. Now, let's look at your websites. Now, you may have to go back to your website and actually click on it and find some of the information that I have here, because since I had you do your note sheets, I have changed the note sheet to add some information that you may not have gathered if you're working here in 2022. I've added the web page name, the article author, which we did not have in 2022 when you were doing that. So you'll need to go back and get that information. If there isn't a author, then there isn't an author on the note sheet. It should be NA. In the citation, you're just going to go to the next element and you won't put NA. You'll just go on to the next element. So now for this, we're going to use the same pattern as what we've been using, or we can follow the pattern of the citations built for us. So we started with the author's name in that citation. So on my sample website, I have NA, so I go to the next element, which is S. Lender, so I'm going to put his name in as the first part of the entry. Now, notice there's a period there, not just because there's a middle initial, but even this one, there's a period. There's always a period after the author's name in MLA citation. There's always a space after periods, commas, closing quotes, those things. Now I need the title of the web page, not the whole website, the web page. In this case, my web page name is Salem Witch Trials. If you're working with a note sheet that didn't have that, you have to go and look not at the full website name, but the actual web page name, which is commiserate or like the title of the article in this previous thing. So, Salem Witch Trials. Notice I already have it in quotation marks. If you don't, it needs to be in quotation marks on your Works Cited page, except there needs to be a period inside the closing quotation marks. Hit space, and now I'm going to go to the publication name, the website name on the website. Salem Witch Trials. Copy, and I'm going to paste that in. Now, I need that italicized the way I did here. Italics. And then you'll notice that after the title of the publication there is a comma. So put a comma and a space, and then we'll go back, and in this case now you do have some more information. Here we don't have volume numbers and publication numbers and page numbers and all that, but you need the sponsoring organization, almost equivalent to eLibrary here. But the sponsoring organization, which I had you gather, in this case, nope, that's not the right source. Here we go. In this case, it's UMK School of Law. If you're looking at the note sheet or at the original source, I had to scroll down here to find that. So I'm going to copy and paste that. Sponsoring organization, you don't do anything special with it. You just stick it behind the comma, of course leaving a space. Oops, see, I did not paste it without formatting, or Control Shift V. There we go. School of Law, and we're going to put a comma there, space. Now we get to the URL, because that would be the next aspect. There we are. So I'm going to copy my URL. And you see there that there's a period, space. Now, for websites change. There is an option that some of your professors will want, and as your high school English teacher, I want you to do this as well, because websites sometimes change, and that is the date of access. So I want accessed, and then on your note sheet, you look at the date that you accessed it. If you don't have that, like here, you're building the source from a new source that you added, and you went and looked at it today, today would be the day that you last accessed it. You know that site has not changed from when you last looked at it. But in this case, I'm going to put the access date, period, and that citation's done. The next citation doesn't have an author. No author. On the note sheet, I have you put NA anytime there's a blank, but on the Works Cited, you don't do that. So you go with the next element, which is the title of the web page. Copy, paste, put my period. Now I want to confirm, and again, you can do alphabetizing at the end and just move these around on the page if you want to. I want to confirm that I am alphabetizing Adams, Latner, Linder, Salem. Not the, it's Salem. So I'm good there. Hit the space bar. Then I go to the website name. Control C. And I'm going to Control Shift V. And then I'm going to go back and italicize the name of the website, which is the larger part. And then after that, turn the italics off, hit comma. Then I can follow the pattern. Who was my publication sponsor? In this case, it was the University of Virginia. Control C. Then Control Shift V, comma, space. And now we move on to the URL, again following the pattern. Citations, whether you're using MLA or APA, are always about following the pattern. And Control Shift V, period, accessed. When did I access that last? It was 425 of 22, so Control C that. Put my period. Now, here I'm looking back over, and I'm going to go ahead and remove those hyperlinks. And I'm just going to glance over it and make sure I've got everything I need. So you, of course, unless you have a accommodated curriculum, you are doing more than 4 sources, but this sort of gets you the works cited page the way you need it. I'm going to post this document as a source for you to consult and follow the pattern. If you have any questions, you can ask me in class or email me.